Graham here, and today I want to take you through the latest features and updates on the Microsoft 365 roadmap for Microsoft Teams Rooms. We can find this information online at aka.ms/MTR roadmap, and I will link in the description below. So let's go and check it out and see what we have. So here we have the Teams room. So we search for a specific item, and that is the short link. That's what we're looking for Teams room. Anything related to that. So what have we got? So since my last video on this, the platform has had a redesign. So again, you can download it, you can share it. You've got the RSS feed just above me there. You can also then look at certain locations and what platforms you're looking for. So unfortunately, devices aren't there, for example, and what phase it's in, etc. So we can now go through a nice new filter on all these settings. But obviously searching for Teams rooms gives us a lot of features. So let's jump through them, and there's not like a nice little progress indicator now. So you can see how far in advance is this coming. So if we first look at the Microsoft Teams Rooms managed services, so the first three items here are all for the Microsoft Teams Room Premium service. And we can expand that, and we can look at what this feature is. So IT roles based on location scopes, such as building sites and regions. So again, giving people different levels of access. So if you have a management company or a third party or a user that is managing devices, say in London, they get to see just the London buildings, for example. They don't need to see the buildings in New York. So that's a new feature due in April 2022. And then we move on to the next one, account-driven incidents. So again, a little bit of automation. So action-based organizations of incidents to streamline the workflow. So that's a feature, again, coming in April 2022. And then room expansion planning. So planning the experience for new rooms based on a standard. Let's say you have a small, medium, and large standard, or you have gold, silver, bronze. And that is a set blueprint for, a 4-person room, a 6-person, and an 8-person room, or something like that. You could then have this set up in your Microsoft Teams Room Premium portal, and then anyone in your global organization can say, okay, I want to order a large room for London, for example, and then that will have the complete bill of materials that is exactly the same as what's in New York, in Sydney, etc. So you've got consistency throughout the world. So that's a feature, again, coming in April 2022. And next up, we have Teams device management in DoD environments. So this is if your tenant is a DoD. This is now being able to utilize the Teams Admin Center and control everything from IP phones, the Microsoft Teams Rooms on Android, Teams displays, and Microsoft Teams Rooms on Windows. This is now due for March next year. Another feature that's been added to the roadmap here, as you can see, is the ability to see when it was last modified as well. So that will tell you when it was last updated. That's a nice feature there. So we have Teams castings for Microsoft Teams Rooms on Windows. So being able to open up your device and cast to your Microsoft Teams Rooms on Windows. So this is going to be rolling out in January 2022. And again, a lot of these things are provisional. It was last modified on the 19th, so actually a few days ago. So this is, again, being able to have internet access on your mobile or cell phone or your tablet, and then being able to cast out to the device. So that's a nice feature. And again, I've done some videos on this already. I thought it was already out, so clearly not. But there's many demonstrations of this out there at the moment, and this will roll out in January 2022. So this is an exciting one we've all been waiting for. Switch between multiple video cameras on Microsoft Teams Rooms on Windows, January 2022. So one of the features previously on Skype for Business Room Systems, SRSV2, when you're on a Skype call, you could switch between cameras. So if you had a front of room camera and an audience camera, you could switch there. So now this is coming to Microsoft Teams Rooms, so you'll be able to switch between those cameras during a team meeting. Rolling out January across standard tenants, including GCC. So that's a great feature that a lot of people are waiting for. For those larger complex rooms, maybe not every room needs this feature, but the larger ones certainly like to have that. And then we have the new feature again. This was mentioned at Ignite. This is companion mode for, first of all, iOS users. So using your iPhone, you can join the meeting and obviously bring it in a proximity to join. But then obviously the audio will be turned off, and then your iPhone is a companion. So you could then sort of give reactions, and that would then come from you as a user, for example. Raise your hand. So it's using your personal device. So again, you have to use a shared console in the center of the room, or you may not be sitting in the middle or at the end where the center of the room console is. So by utilizing the device and your own device in conjunction, obviously you'll need network connection on your phone to do this. But it's changing it from just being a room remote control to being a lot more. So today, obviously, we can do room remote control. This is the next iteration of being the companion mode for your meetings. And then next up, we have Breakout Rooms support for Microsoft Teams Rooms on Android. So again, formerly known as collaboration bars, these are now Teams Rooms on Android, or MTROA. This will now support breakout rooms. So if you have a breakout room, and again, there's some great new features on breakout rooms for pre-planning, etc. So in December, this will roll out for the Android platform, and then Windows to come later on, I believe, at some point next year. So when you do your breakout rooms, you can now also include the devices in there. Then we have, what else? Again, breakout rooms, because it's room in the title, it's picked up some of these features. So a nice feature that, again, announced at Ignite due in December is your Microsoft Teams panel. So these devices that sit outside in the hallway. First of all, we had the availability to book a room, and then also be able to walk up and reserve a room. In August, we then got line of business applications, which I've done some demos on. I'll put a link up in the top corner to show you an example of how you could use a line of business application built on Power Apps to, request cleaning, for example. But here we'll have a new check-in feature. So what we call room ghosting. So people don't turn up to the room, basically. They decide, we work from home, but they forget to take the room off the calendar. A lot of people will just start the meeting, we're on video, but then that room will remain empty and obviously red or purple outside, showing the room is booked. Now, with this feature coming in December, you will have to check in on here, and then that will tell people inside the room, first of all on Android, and then Windows coming at a later date, that there's a notification that you've checked in, that people are waiting outside the room. So it's a dual use feature here as well. So again, that's coming at the end of this calendar year. And then check-in room release, as I mentioned, so it's a combined feature, it's both coming together in the next sort of software update. So the check-in notification to tell people inside the room you're here, but also that you've turned up to the room, and please don't release it. So if it is released, then obviously when people look for a room, they will find an available room if you haven't checked in on the panel. Now, obviously someone could just walk down a corridor and just hit check in, check in, check in, but let's hope your users are a bit more well-behaved than probably my kids, I would say. And then we have, again, a bunch of whole features here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 features for the managed services, so the Microsoft Teams Room Premium. So room occupancy reports. So this is using the data from the cameras. So again, those cameras that have people count information, being able to take that and show how busy the rooms are. So that's coming in December. Value reports. So again, understanding how much value the rooms are being utilized. Maybe something like the cost per seat. Maybe what do the room cost to set up, and are you getting good value from that space? But also you've been able to manage the Surface Hub within Microsoft Teams Room Premium, but also Teams Rooms on Android. So again, adding new features to the Microsoft Teams Room platform. So you're getting a lot more features now in here rather than just Windows. And then also you have the ability for asset management. So again, understanding everything that is in the room, maybe not just the Microsoft devices, maybe it will include things like, do you have a physical whiteboard? Because you can do that on Exchange today with set place and obviously define what features are in a room. So maybe that is bring that all together so you have a single management portal for everything. A few more features on breakout rooms, and now let's jump to the next page. So this is an exciting one. Long awaited, being able to split the gallery of video people across multiple displays. I will do a blog post on this. It's very near production. It's been through TAC, lots of sign-offs, 1 or 2 bugs to iron out. But on here, let's say we have 8 people on video and ourselves is number 9. Usually we'd be squeezed onto one screen and the second screen would be left spare for content. What this will now do, for example, would put 4 and 4 on each screen. So you're using the full real estate when no content is being shared. Obviously, if content shared, one screen will show content, and then we'll have the new nice dynamic layout on there on the other screen. Or again, even if it's just a 3-person meeting, we'll be full screen on each screen if no content has been shared. So a much more immersive experience on here. So again, this is for Windows. It will come for Android, I guess, at a later date. November, so that is imminent. Very, very soon that'll be available. And again, it's a web service update. But this also then links to a new feature for the Microsoft public preview. And I'm going to do another video on that. How do you put your devices in public preview so you can get access to some of these new features early on so you can start testing. So we have meeting room capacity notifications. So again, this is in the standard. This is due October. And we're in nearly the end of November. So I've not seen this rolled out yet. So again, Microsoft Teams Rooms capacity notifications, certified cameras that do people counting, that has not yet rolled out. It says it's rolling out, but I've actually not seen that yet myself. We have support for IP audio and video in Microsoft Teams Rooms on Windows. It's rolled out, apparently. I'm struggling to understand what this feature is. Maybe it is the Shure DSP that was certified with Crestron. That's the IP audio based. And maybe the IP video based is something like the Hudley L1, where you've got that camera running over Ethernet back to a USB to IP converter. Maybe that's what it means. It just says IP based audio and video devices can be selected as resources in Teams Rooms. Maybe that's what it is relating to. I'm trying to get clarification on that one. Then we have the roster list update. Again, coming in October, might be rolled out. And again, some of these features are web services. And I'll show you the Microsoft Teams Rooms documentation at the end, showing you where these new features are that are rolling out as a whole sort of batch update. So lots of updates come very soon. This is sort of mimicking your desktop application. So where you've got the roster list on the right-hand side, you've got a search bar at the top, and then the universal bar or U bar, like I think Microsoft call it, where you've got your mute end and everything else, and automation such as Cortana buttons. They're all in the same similar look and feel. So if you're used to using your desktop client, you can easily use a Microsoft Teams Room console. This is already rolling out now. This is the Microsoft Teams Rooms on Surface Hub. So making the Surface Hub not just another device that might sort of work in your room that had a separate app or interface, should we say, previously. This is now the full Microsoft Teams experience on Surface Hub. So making it just another Teams Room device. So that's a great update if you want to have that, but it still obviously has all the great whiteboarding, inking features available on there as well. Again, part of these web services updates, the ability to see chat bubbles. So these are now rolling out. Hopefully you might see them, or again, I'll show you how to put your device in public preview and start seeing these features that are starting to roll out. Again, when Microsoft roll out features, it's not a whoosh, it's not a big bang. It rolls out over time in case anything goes wrong or might need a little bit of tweaking or feedback. They don't want to affect everyone, just a couple of rooms. This is chat bubbles at the top of the screen. It will show you that's, Graham sent a message, for example. That is then giving you an indication, going back to a previous item. You could open up your phone as the companion device in the room and see that message or that URL. Maybe it's a survey or a Q&A that has been shared. So the dynamic view on single and dual display rooms. So this is just like your desktop client. Non-video people are pushed to the side, and we just see the little contact cards or icons, and focusing on video people in the middle. So again, that's pairing with the split layouts, etc. It all comes together as a nice update. Another feature that's been quite nice and hopefully coming is the fit to frame. So a lot of the times, we're portrait, we're standing here, but a room really needs to be landscape so we can see everyone in the room. So Microsoft Teams knows it's a room system now, and I want to show you that landscape view just so you get a better full view of the room rather than being cropped out. And again, on the users on the desktop, they can choose fit to frame, and let's say there's only one person in the room and you may not have a person tracking camera, for example. So the end user on their desktop client can choose to fit the frame if they want. But this will be default now, expanded view, so you can see everything in there. The large meeting room controls on Microsoft Teams rooms on Windows. Again, using that nice look and feel, more spread out, and very similar to the updates that we talked about, that roster list control as well. So just a whole new layout there. Lock support for meetings, so you can do this on your desktop client now on the Microsoft Teams rooms on Windows. You can lock the meeting so no one else can join. If they try and join, they get a notification. The meeting room is locked, for example, from the desktop client. Now, this is meant to be running out as part of those UI updates. I've not seen this yet. I did see a post the other day. Someone already has it on their meeting device, so it's probably rolling out in stages that you're going to have this ability. Again, giving you more control from there, but again, from the room remote or companion mode, you'll be able to control that as well. Just like live reactions, being able to, heart emojis, thumbs up, and I think there's 800 more emojis coming. Not sure how many are going to come to a Teams room, but you've got those reactions, so the room can actually communicate back just like they're a desktop client, so they don't feel left out. Everything is inclusive in the meeting. And then we have the so all these features I've been talking about for the last couple of minutes, they are all October or starting to roll out very, very shortly. Pinning multiple people. So this allows you to pin up to 9 people during a Teams call, and this is for your view only. So if I'm in meeting room 1 and I select to pin 3 people, that's just my view in meeting room 1. Someone else in meeting room 4 or someone on the desktop client sees whatever they see. The dynamic view probably, or gallery view, or together mode, however they decide to show their layouts. Pinning is a personal thing for this room, and this is for on Windows. If you want to have it for the whole meeting, that is called spotlighting, and that feature is there as well. You can have spotlighting multiple people, which we'll see in a second. Next up, it's probably one of my favorite features, similar to what I do here in OBS, is PowerPoint presenter mode. So PowerPoint Live, where I'm inside the meeting and presenting. Now, obviously, I do this in OBS with a green screen. This is basically doing it for you. And then in the Microsoft Teams room, the video is then put on the content screen with the person in there. So today, you would see just normal content and then people on the other screen. Now, with this latest update, when it rolls out, you'll get that live PowerPoint mode as well. So front room display will see that person in the presentation. So again, just like the desktop client. As I mentioned, the spotlight feature, so this is for everyone, so the whole meeting. So let's say it's a lecture or an all hands call, and there's a couple of speakers or a couple of rooms that are the main participants. You can spotlight up to 7 video streams or 7 people. And again, you can control this from the Microsoft Teams Room console. You can start a spotlight, stop a spotlight, etc. And this is then who is the main people presenting. But this is for everyone. So whether you're on Teams Mobile, Teams Desktop, Windows, Mac, web, doesn't matter. Everyone will see who you've spotlighted. So just remember, pinning is personal, spotlighting is for everyone. And again, these updates should be rolling out very, very shortly. And we've already had, obviously, room remote for Teams rooms on Windows. I've done a video on that before where you've got the basic controls to turn the mic on and off, turn the camera on and off, and adjust the volume and leave the meeting. So that's rolled out there for iOS and Android. And coming very soon. I think it's on Yealink today, and others are coming shortly. Logitech and others. Been able to plug in your laptop wired HDMI ingest for your Teams rooms on Android. So that is in the progress of being rolled out for Logitech, Poly, and others. And then we have the split video layout, which we've sort of seen already. And then we have the partner delegate access. So again, if you have a third party managing your Microsoft Teams Rooms Managed Service, or your MTRP, you can then delegate access to their tenant to log in and manage those devices for you. So again, you might have one organization in North America, a different organization in Europe, for example, and again, you don't have to give them full access to your tenant for them. So they are the main features that are in development, and let's just double check what's rolling out. We have the all these features we've mentioned: presenter mode wired, HDMI ingest. So some new features here that are already rolled out, are rolling out in the Managed Teams Rooms environment. So dynamic signal tickets, so automatically creating tickets on events, etc. But also then managing firmware for additional OEMs on there. So that is it. And obviously Teams casting on Android and iOS, that is all available. That is rolled out. Now, the other thing that is hidden is what we call guest join access. So if we search for guest join, we then see what's available, what's in development, and what has been launched. So if we can tick all these. So obviously we had Zoom and WebEx for Microsoft Teams rooms on Windows. All in there, single screen, does what it says in the box. You're a guest inside that Zoom or WebEx meeting. Obviously, a big request for feature parity is the ability to have other platforms supporting, i.e. the Microsoft Teams rooms on Android. Now, this has slipped again. This is now March 2022. So this will be for that Zoom and WebEx. Now, if you were at Ignite or listened into Ignite this year, there was 2 new guest join partners announced, BlueJeans and GoToMeeting. So they will, again, I'm guessing, they'll come to Windows first, then Android second. But they are new platforms, probably coming Q1, maybe Q2 next year. So expanding that guest join platform. Anything else? Let's have a look on Teams phones, maybe. What have we got on Teams phones? Anything here in development that is related to hardware? Again, there's quite a few bits of hardware. Lots of things around intelligent video, which we'll probably cover another time. But for the Teams devices, we can have this new feature called walkie-talkie. So where you have it on the iOS or Android, should we say, on those devices, you'll be able to do this from a Microsoft Teams phone as well. So a hardware-based IP phone, you'll be able to also utilize the walkie-talkie. And that is it for our roundup of what's happening in the roadmap. So there's a lot here in that's been published. There's also a lot that has been announced at Ignite and hasn't reached the roadmap yet. So maybe next month we'll do an update just before Christmas, and we'll see all those new features announced at Ignite, features that are coming, etc. So much for listening in. And in case you don't know, this road is in Italy. It's a mountain pass called Stelvio, and I've driven it many times. It's an awesome road to drive. There's lots of cyclists. I don't do road cycling like this anymore. But driving this is immense. It's actually where they tested the Lotus Elise for its brakes, etc. So I used to own one, so we used to do a tour here every year. So hence why I thought, road, let's have that in there together. And don't forget, you're liking the cool swag, check out my merch store, graham-walter.com/store. You too can get some of these nice cool swag. Thanks very much for watching, and see you soon.